Hey everyone, in this video I continue my permanent holiday light install by adding some lights around my garage doors. I also create an annual Christmas tree setup on my front porch with a second controller. I'm going to do some power testing to discover if I want to upgrade my controller, and then calculate how much power the system uses and how much it will cost for me to run it. My name is Dave, and I am just another nerdy Canuck. After installing the lights along my roofline, I was thrilled with how the lights looked at night and how invisible they were during the day. I did notice a bit of a dark spot on my garage, so I decided to install some additional lights around the garage doors as well. These additional lights will be connected to the second data output of my Dig Uno controller and share the 12-volt power outputs from the controller. The main power and data cable for the garage door lights will be run from the controller through the corner of the garage door, down the track, and connect with the bottom right of the right side garage door. The lights will run up, over, and down that frame of the door, and then I will run a 3-wire jumper cable back up through the track, out the inside top corner of that door, and back down the track to the other side to carry on. The Permatrack I ordered this time came in shorter lengths than what I ordered last year. Last year my box contained 10 5-foot sections for about 50 feet. This time it came as 13 sections just over 45 inches long, still 50 feet. When I first tried to order the Permatrack, it was out of stock, so I filled in my email to have them let me know when it was available. I was surprised and delighted to receive an email the very next day and immediately ordered. I ordered the brown this time as it was in stock, and I painted to match my trim anyway. The Permatrack install is quite simple around these doors, as the angles are all 90 degrees. It's quite sturdy, it needs to be cut with a hacksaw. I'm not going to show too much of the actual install of the track. It's pretty straightforward to screw in the clips to the door frame, push in the lights, and clip in place. Once I had the lights around the first door, I connected a jumper cable to carry the power and data wires to the other side. I ran out of 3-wire cable, so had to use some 2-wire landscape wire plus a single white wire for the data. This wire is run up through the track and out through the corner of the garage. I cut off the included JST connectors and connected the wires. I used some DIY weatherproof connectors by filling the regular wire nuts with dielectric grease. Once they were connected, I could push the lights in, tuck the wire and connectors in place, and snap the track in place. I ran the 3 wires between the doors and down the side of the second door and cut them to length. I then cut the JST connector off the next set of lights and connected the power and data cables to start the next string. Once that was done, I could start pushing in the lights and clipping the track in place. At the end of this first string of lights, I tied in my power injection wire. Power and data lines are supplied at the start of the run directly from the controller. These are jumpered to the second door. To ensure good voltage supply to each pixel light, I injected power after the 4th string or after 200 lights. This way, no light was further than 100 lights from a power injection point. We connected the remaining strings and finished off the track install. I ended up having just a short section of 2 lights at the end, but it worked fine. All of the power injection wires on the strings were terminated with shrink tubing to protect them from weather, and the last connections were cut off and terminated in the same shrink tubing as well. To connect the wires at my control box, I first taped the wires from my previous roofline install together. I then tacked down the wires from the garage doors and then taped them together with the roofline wires in the control box. I will likely wrap these with some kind of wire protector once I have run this setup for a bit and I'm happy with it. The data wire for the garage is connected to the LED 2 output, or GPIO3. I tried to connect the power wires to my overcrowded wire nut. It was obvious that they would not fit in a single wire nut, so I ended up joining them in 2 wire nuts with a jumper between each one. This large collection of power wires should have been a warning to me about the trouble I was going to run into in a little bit. I pushed the wires into the box, closed it up, and was ready to try out the lights. I used the app to set up the new lights. As the controller was set up previously, it is called Roofline. You can also set this up via a web browser by entering the IP address of the controller. I have my router set up to reserve the IP addresses for my controllers so they are always the same. So we're going to go to my roof line. We need to go to the config. You need to go to LED preferences. So currently we only have GPIO 16 set up. So we're going to add one. This is going to be in GPIO 3. And these are the same as my other ones. So they're red, green, blue LEDs. The start is going to be 535. And I happen to know I have 300 lights on here. So just for demonstration purposes, if you don't know the exact number, I'm going to say 295 or say 296. And then I'm going to scroll to the bottom and save. Then I'm going to go back. I'm going to create a segment. I'm going to add a segment so you can see that new segment. Sure, we'll say it's all 831 LEDs. So we'll call that, turn that segment on, and we'll go to an effect and we'll do a solid color and turn them on. And you can see that there's 4 LEDs that are not lit. So all we have to do is go back to our configuration, go back to our LED preferences, change that number. Now I'll do 298 just to demonstrate. And go down to the bottom and save. And then we go back to our, oops, I went too far back, sorry. Go back to our segments. We're going to adjust the segment to, now we've added 2 more to it, so it'll be 832. Sorry, 833. And we'll apply that, and you'll see we now have those 2 more lights on. And of course, we go back to our proper settings, change that to 300, which I know to be the case. Save it. And, oh, again, I should have clicked the back button, not the back arrow. So if I go to my segments and I adjust segment to have all 835 lights on it. So this is 535 from GPIO 16, and there you can see we have, they're all on. Bonus. I wonder how much current I am drawing. Let's go check that out. The DIG Uno controller comes with a 10 amp fuse, and I was curious how much current the 835 lights would draw. I started with a blink rainbow effect. The current was much higher than I expected. All white draws the most current, and this effect doesn't have any white lights in it, and was drawing around 8 amps. I switched to candy cane, which was half white and half red. That bumped the current up to 13 amps, and I knew I was in trouble. The next effect I'm going to try here is Chase 3. I didn't know it at the time, but that 2 of the selected chase colors were white. So once I selected that effect, it blew the fuse. I wish I'd had a camera on my face when that fuse blew. In hindsight, it was no big deal, but at the time I was very disappointed. I quickly went on the internet and checked the DIG Uno website, I'll have it linked below for you, and confirmed that the 2-ounce copper of the DIG Uno version 3 that I was using was capable of a continuous power rating of 15 amps and a burst power of 25 amps. So I headed to my local home hardware to pick up some automotive fuses. I installed a 25 amp fuse for testing purposes and then ran through the tests again. First of all, we'll get the segments to be 835. Apply. Okay, let's turn the brightness down. Go to the effects. We're on, go to colors. We'll do white. Effects. Solid. Okay, so if we look, yep, got all white lights everywhere. Alright, let's turn up the intensity, the brightness, a little over half. That's going to be 11 amps. A bit brighter. 14. Significantly brighter. 16. Maximum brightness. Okay, that's not bad. 18 amps maximum brightness. I think I can live with that. So the maximum current with all 835 lights at full bright white is 18 amps. I decided to try a number of effects, starting with breathe. The current seemed really high for that effect, so I checked my colors and noticed that 2 of my 3 colors were white, which explained why it was drawing such a high current. I adjusted those colors to red, green, and blue, and tried a variety of different effects. As you can see, all of the effects that I planned to use were less than 15 amps. Since I have no intention of running all of the lights as full bright white, I decided that at least for now, I would be good with a 15 amp fuse. However, even though none of my planned effects would draw the maximum current, I am not a fan of being limited in my options or drawing so much power through the single pair of supply wires to the Dig Uno controller. Although I could probably leave this setup as is, in the interest of being extra cautious, I have ordered a Dig Quad controller. It uses the same control board, but has a much higher power handling capabilities and can run 30 amps of continuous current. This will be more than enough to power my system even with all 835 lights at full output. More importantly, I will be able to run another set of wires from the power supply to the controller to share the total current. This will keep my system well below the maximum current capacity, even if I decide to run all of my lights at full brightness. When the Dig Quad comes in, I will put up another update video with the install of that controller. I guess that means this just became part 2 of a 3-part install series. To keep this video from getting too long, I'm going to show how I program the WLED controller in the next video. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel to make sure you can watch it when it comes out. In addition to the extra lights around the garage, I also wanted to put up a Christmas tree on our front porch. This will not be part of my permanent install, and I will have to set it up each year. So I'm going to use the same pixel lights, but a separate Dig Uno controller for this particular setup. So I put up the tree, I wrapped it with 200 pixel lights, I created a mini version of my control box with a spare project box that I had around and a spare 5 amp power supply that I had. I created a patch cord that had the JST connector at the top end for power and data signal, and a second connector at the bottom for just power injection. I will have the tree run a separate playlist of effects on its own, independent from my roofline. I was curious how much total power my system would use, and how much it would cost to operate. To determine this, I plugged the power supply into a smart outlet to measure the total energy used. This will include the total energy supplied to the system, including the power supply fan and any conversion losses in the power supply. This is a screen capture of the system in use as I cycle through various effects. You can see the power use varies for each of the different effects. I usually run my system for about 6 hours per day, from 4:30 p.m. to about 10:30. I run a cycle of about 10 effects continuously. I ran my system through the smart plug for 6 hours to simulate this, and during that time it used about 0.8 kilowatt hours of energy. I plan to run my system each year starting around November 12th until New Year's, plus a few holidays throughout the year. This works out to be less than 60 days. If I use a rate of 0.8 kilowatt hours per day for 60 days, that works out to 48 kilowatt hours per year. My all-in electrical rate, including delivery and tax, is about 16 cents per kilowatt hour, so running this light setup should cost me about $7.68 per year. That is way less than I was expecting. Thank you for joining me on this fascinating journey with my permanent Christmas lights. I am really enjoying the lights and sometimes find myself just watching the changing patterns. My grandkids also love just to sit in the window and cheer and comment on the various patterns as they go. I'm amazed at how many of my neighbors have commented on how nice it looks. This has been a very rewarding project. Thank you for making it all the way to the end. Please like this video, it really helps my channel. Also, if you want to make sure that you see the next video of my Dig Quad install and programming, please subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell. See you soon!